Welcome to Vertical Movement PT. I'm Dr. Kimmi, physical therapist, and today is day 2 of 5-day mobility challenge. And this is mobility routine number 2. Alright, let's get started. Today we're going to do a 10-minute mobility routine focused on being on the mat. Our first one we're going to do is open books. You're going to go ahead and lay on your side, hands straight forward, and knees and legs stacked, hips stacked. You're going to go ahead and bring your arm backwards. If there's a wall or something that's blocking you, you can bend your elbow. Go ahead and hold the stretch and then come back forward. So open books are great to open up your chest and to improve your thoracic mobility. So the thoracic is the upper back. It's also great to open up that rib cage. The lungs, they are underneath the rib cage. And if your rib cage is stiff, then it makes it really difficult for your breathing. The more oxygen we have, the better we can function. Stay awake, be alert. Make sure that you're breathing through your diaphragm. Okay, last one. All right, and then let's switch to the other side. Just so that we're nice and even. Okay, go ahead and start off. You might hear some crackling and popping. That's just the air being released from your spine and your joints. So keep focusing on breathing through that diaphragm. Just right over here. Hold the stretch that feels really good for you. If the movements going back and forth feel better for you, then you can go ahead and focus on that. But the idea of these routines is to help you to learn your body and to figure out what your body needs. So you are free to adjust these routines the way that makes you feel best. I'm here just to give you the foundation. Alright, you're going to go ahead and do cat-cow. So on your hands and your knees, make sure your knees are underneath your hip and your hands are underneath your shoulder. You're going to go ahead and curve your back. This is the cat. And then drop your spine and lift your head. And this is the cow. You're going to alternate from those two positions. Cat to cow. So you want to make sure that the mobility of your spine is even and gradual, and that you're not arching or bending only from one segment of the spine. Do that diaphragm, nice deep breath. Just want to make sure when you put your head up that you're not arching and getting all that mobility from the neck. Alright, next let's go ahead and move on to prayer stretch. You spread your knees a little bit wide. Just drop your hands forward, reaching. Tuck that tailbone in between your legs. Crawl your fingers forward to get a deeper stretch.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and move to the left. This way you're going to get a nice stretch on that right lower part of your back. And now let's go ahead and move to the other side. You're gonna feel a nice stretch along that left lower part of your back and also your left lats. That's right underneath your armpits on the side. Okay, next we're gonna move on to quadruped rock backs. So same position as starting as the cat-cow. Hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. And then you're gonna go ahead and rock back, forward, and back. Make sure your core is activated, that your head and your neck is aligned with the rest of your spine. So the idea of this exercise is it helps open up the back of your shoulders. Also, it helps open up those backs of the hips. You also get a nice stretch along the side of your trunk here, your lat muscles. And you might even feel a nice little stretch in your low back. This is also a really good exercise to help with your core stability and your neck stability. Alright. Okay. Next we're going to go ahead and move on our back and we're going to do hip twisters. So feet wider than your hips, on your back, hands on your diaphragm, and then you're going to go ahead and drop your knees to one direction and alternate going the other direction. Make sure you have space so that your knees can get as close to the ground as possible. You want to make sure that your low back does its best to stay on the ground and that you're getting most of the mobility from your hips and not so much from your low back. Because this mobility exercise is to help improve the mobility of the hips. And having mobile hips is so important for being functional, and especially if you're an athlete or if you're doing recreational sports, working out. You want to have those hips mobile, because if they aren't, then you're going to be wearing out that low back in your knees. The hip is the bridge between the low back and the knees. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the piriformis stretch. So you're going to put your left leg over the right thigh, and then you're going to go ahead and hug that thigh to your chest. You should feel a nice stretch along that left piriformis muscle. This is going to help open up the back part of your hip. You should feel pretty good. Make sure you have nice deep breaths through your diaphragm. Let's go ahead and switch. Right ankle on top of the left thigh, hugging your thigh to your chest. And if it's too hard for you, you can leave your leg on the ground. You can feel a nice stretch on the right hip doing that also. If you want a deeper stretch, go ahead and hug that leg closer to your chest. Nice deep breaths. All right, let's switch on over to the active hamstring stretch. We're going to start with that left side, leg up straight, hand behind that thigh, and you're going to go ahead and pump your foot up and down. You want that right leg to be bent. That's going to help protect that low back. This one you're going to feel a nice pull along the calf muscle and the hamstring. And then this is also great to help with your mobility of your sciatic nerve. For those of you who suffer from sciatica. Okay, let's switch to the right leg. Leg up, hands behind the thigh, and pump that foot away. You might find that one leg is tighter than the other leg. And that's your body telling you which parts of your body needs loving. As your leg loosens up, you can go ahead and do a little bit more push-ups. All right. Next, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the hip flexor stretch. So you can get a pillow to protect your knee if you need it. So let's start off stretching out the left side first. So left knee on the pillow, right leg forward in this lunge position. Make sure that you tuck your pelvis underneath and your core is nice and neutral. You're gonna go ahead and lift the arm, the same arm on the side of the hip we're stretching, and then we're gonna go ahead and go back and forward. You should feel a nice stretch along the left side of that hip. You can go ahead and have your head match the movements if you want to get a little bit more of a stretch. Okay, let's go ahead and move over to the side now. So we're moving away from the hip that we're stretching. Make sure that pelvis stays tucked in and that your core is neutral so you're not wobbling everywhere. Now let's go ahead and move over to the rotations. So rotating away from that hip that we're stretching. This is a really awesome stretch after sitting for a while. It's been a long drive. Okay, let's switch to the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over here. So right knee on the pillow, left knee forward, tuck that pelvis in, core nice and tight. Use the arm that's on the same side as the hip that we're stretching. Breaths with that diaphragm. Elbow tucked in, core tight. Okay, let's go ahead and now do the side bend. Moving away from that hip. You want to keep checking in with yourself, making sure your form is good. Make sure that your neck flexors are engaged, so your head isn't wobbling all over the place. Okay. And let's switch now to the rotations. After this, you're going to feel so good, so stretched out, and ready for that core routine number 2. Everybody likes doing 4, right? All right, last one. And that's it. You have finished mobility routine number 2. Now it's time to move on to core routine number 2.